All right. We're back. It's been about... It's been a minute. It's been a minute. I need to put a disclaimer on there that our views are not everybody's views. This is merely a conversation about art and madness and drugs, so we don't condone what we're talking about. But we are going to discuss some things that trigger warning for drugs, alcohol, blah, blah, blah. Okay? We don't condone anything that we're about ready to talk about. Come on over. Come on over.
Basically, don't do everything you hear on the internet.
Don't do what we talk about.
You know, if the conversation goes the same way, they will hear me from the chair.
Well, you're here now, so here we are. Okay? So let's everybody introduce yourselves. I'm Steve.
I'm Ash.
Kyla.
For those of you that don't know, Kayla, or Kay, is another one of our apprentices here. Was a former apprentice elsewhere, has now come to us. But earlier today, a conversation had come up about writer's block, about, just kind of being stuck, not knowing what to do. And then it went into me saying, I need some inspiration.
You said you wanted to get CO2 poisoning so you could create quote unquote better tattoos.
And then there's a story behind this, okay? There's a story behind this. Let me explain. Guys, I understand that CO2 poisoning kills. I understand this. I get this. But the tattooist who tattooed me, a lot of me, at one point in time, was in a living space where the CO2 sensors were not working. And they were tripping balls because obviously the brain's dying, right? And the artwork that came out of that particular scenario, that unfortunate scenario, led to some extremely crazy, off-the-wall, amazing pieces by this particular tattooist. Once, obviously, they found out that it was CO2 poisoning, blah, 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 the issue was fixed. But some of the things that were created by my tattooist, it was just insane. Absolutely insane. And I had made the argument that not all, again, this is just what we were talking about, not all tattooists and not all painters, not all people who created these beautiful works of art, not all of them went insane and did some really cool shit, poetry, Edgar Allan Poe, whatever, right? Either they were tripping balls or they found religion and, whatever, right? But my argument was at some point in an artist's career, tattooing, painting, sculpting, you do go just a tiny bit insane. And when that happens, either you have schizophrenia, or you're tripping balls on a drug, or hallucinogens. What did I say?
You were saying that people who are on hallucinogens or go crazy or something like that, they create more interesting art.
Mm-hmm.
And my very passionate argument,
This is what she said, okay? And I agree.
was that that is blatantly wrong. Like, some people do, just because an artist is, like, has some sort of mental disorder or does have an addiction or does hallucinogens or something like that, does not mean that is any more, like, that is not necessary to create good or even crazy art. I think that it is dependent on the artist and their specific process. And if you look at a lot of artists, they may have had the kind of inspiration when they were on hallucinogens or crazy or going through some sort of shit. Mm-hmm. But the art itself was created when they were getting better. And I don't believe in the romanticization of trauma or depression or drug-induced anything as a way that it makes artists better, that artists need that sort of crazy to do that. That is, like, such a fallacy to me, because it kind of goes hand in hand with a tortured artist. It's like, you don't have to be tortured to create good art. You just have to be committed to creating the art and creating it from an authentic place. And do people create more from an authentic place whenever they are too out of their mind to worry about societal expectations of what their art should look like? Yes. But if you can lose those societal expectations, I think your art will be just as fine.
Continue. Your thoughts.
Well,
Now you will have to speak up to type it.
for me, I agree wholeheartedly that it should not be romanticized in any way, shape, or form, that you need to be tripping balls to make good art. But I get where you're coming from, Steve, because in those moments, in that vulnerability, it allows them a new perspective on certain things in their creativity that they wouldn't normally have, so they can expand upon it, go different directions with it. It opens a door, but the way that they get to that door is not a good way.
Right, and either it come from self-harm, either physically or chemically, or the loss of a loved one. I mean, we know Giger made some really beautiful pieces out of loss, and that haunted him up until the day that he died. Edgar Allan Poe, when he was at his craziest, right, was creating works of art that, like, wow, like, okay, back then love poems weren't a thing. They're like, oh, we're not gonna read that. But, you know, when you start doing the darker things, when you start, you know, thinking beyond the veil as we see it, right? And you do something darker, sometimes.
I love how diplomatic you're being now that the microphone's on.
Sometimes. Oh, no, because I believe it, right? Sometimes it is necessary for people to go through that trauma or that drug of choice or whatever to push our own limits.
See,
of our
I
mind.
do not believe, wholeheartedly, I do not believe that any sort of anything is worth, like, the level of suffering people seem to think is normal for things. Like, I don't think that any artwork, if you have to be traumatized or, like, lose or have CO2 poisoning and, like, go through all of that to create quote unquote good art, I do not think it is worth it. I do not. Also, I don't think, like, I'm very humanitarian when it comes to a lot of things.
Yeah.
But, like, I don't think it is worth it in the end. I don't believe that, like, there is, like, suffering, quote unquote, like, when it's, like, you're being challenged, that, like, strengthening a muscle, that's a challenge, and you do suffer a little bit. But taking it beyond that to the point where it's, like, physically or mentally harming yourself, that is not a challenge anymore. That is just doing harm. and it is not worth it if you feel like that is the only way you can get to where, quote unquote, you like your version of good art, then you need to reevaluate a lot of things, in my opinion.
Well, and I had made the comment that there were a lot of tattooists out there that, dude, they've been through shit.
Mm-hmm.
They've been through some shit, either hallucinogens or, drug, whatever, right? And it's just like, whoa. What's up? Yeah, hold on. Continue.
I think it ties into that whole thing of you should never actively go out and choose to harm yourself. Like, that's just bad. But if it's something outside of your control,
like making art out of it, that's different.
Create something beautiful out of something out of your control, rather than dwell on the fact that it's ass. But no, going out and choosing it, no, I don't know why.
Like, to me, it just ties into kind of like the hustle culture, where it's like you have to be constantly grinding and constantly pushing, otherwise you won't succeed at all. And it's like, I don't want a level of success that I am only capable of by hurting myself, by draining myself. If I have to push myself that much to that hustle, if I am only capable of that sort of success when I am pushing myself to my absolute breaking point, then that is not success. That will not last me any sort of, that's not long, that's not, what's the word I'm looking for?
Sustainable.
That's not sustainable at all. Because if you can only get there by pushing yourself to the breaking point, then you're just broken, and then it's just going to fall apart. That's the second you are not, physically, emotionally, and mentally exhausting yourself.
I've done it.
I know you have.
I've done it for 10 years. Well, going on 11. I've done it for the 10 years that I have been in this industry. Not only my business, but,
And I wish you had never had to do that. I wish that none of this, society the way it is, should not be pushing us to the point where we're breaking ourselves every day just to make a living.
No, dude, we want to hear this, okay? Because we're people too, right? So a lot of people that know me, I was working for a very large airplane brake company, making very good money. I'm a former medical assistant, so I was a medical assistant, worked for the airplane brake company, and then I was hit up by my mentor to come and work in Cincinnati, right? Of course, I want that. And from that moment forward, I suffered. Because I wanted it that bad. And I knew in my heart of hearts that if I didn't put everything into it, emotionally, spiritually, there would be no this currently. There would have been no drive to open up my own tattoo shop and to grow as a business, as a tattooist, as a person. Every single day. I wake up, I sit up on the edge of the bed, I come downstairs, I sit right here in the middle of the floor, right? Have conversations with myself. And then I'll sit right there on the carpet and just look out. I did it. I survived 5 years. I did it. Through all of the heartache, through all of the sorrow, through all of the bullshit, through it all. And I want to give up every single day. Every single day I don't want to do this. Every day. But then when I sit there and I look out, I'm like, I did it. Now I have to continue to suffer to keep it. Because this is what I want to do. This is my passion. And I've wanted this for so long. I never thought that I would have an opportunity through it all. Through everything that I went through my apprenticeship, fellow employees that I'd worked with, former bosses, through it all. I did it. We're not done. We're not out of the woods. Okay? We are not out of the woods. That's not to say that I won't wake up tomorrow and go, I want to do this. But the day that I don't come downstairs and sit there in the middle of the floor and cry about it before Cam shows up, before anybody shows up. If I don't sit down here on the floor and look out across the shop and see the support from our clients and friends, the support from my family to keep us going, the support from you guys to keep going, right? Because this is mentally, this is rough. And there are times that I want to create something and I start and then I stop, right? Like I quit. And I had said that, man, maybe don't do it. Maybe I need to give myself CO2 poisoning. And I'm like, what the fuck, right? Like, how do I?
You said you wanted to give, you wanted CO2 poisoning, and that's why I was like, Steve, maybe let's not.
Just. But then, like,
how many times have you talked about that? How many times have you talked?
So
exactly.
many.
Like after that, it's not ingest anymore.
Many.
It's a plan.
You're the not meme, the video that I said. What it's like to own a tattoo shop. The guy's like wrapping saran wrap around his neck. Like, oh, look at you.
And if I remember correctly, I was simply like, "Hey, Steve, maybe let's not actively kill our brain just for the possibility of creating
to see something, to get that spiritual enlightenment, to go.
Okay,
I get it.
If you are having CO2 poisoning and it is not a near-death experience where you are actively resuscitated, which no one should be trying to do, by the way.
That.
I'm talking to you, Steve. I'm not talking to the audience. I'm talking to you.
I haven't done it. I'm just saying. Maybe
it is not a spiritual awakening. You are just dying. That is.
Maybe that's what I need to do. Act.
Well, I kind of want you to stick around a little bit.
Jesus fucking Christ.
And I am. Listen.
I can't ever please people here
you,
in the shop.
You turned on the microphone because you knew I was gonna get started.
That's right.
And you said that.
That's what I want. Yeah. Right. Yes,
and
she talks. It's a passion talk.
And
I love it.
Listen, I'm not gonna stop until you do not see this job as inherent connection with suffering. That is just so sad to me. That, like, living your dream life is somehow you have to suffer so incredibly, and I'm not gonna stop until you see it as fun. This is supposed to be fun, Steve.
Oh, it's great. It's fun. Never not one time said that it was fun. Okay. Do I feel, as the owner of Red River Tattoo and as a tattooist, okay, as a fellow tattooist, do I feel that I was prepared to open up my own shop? No. Honestly, if I could turn back time and do it again, no, I wouldn't change a fucking thing. Was it better for me to be a tattooist and be like a private contractor? Yeah. I didn't have to deal with like the bullshit that I deal with now, right? But I don't think that I have any regrets about doing what I've done, right? This is just hard. And I wish something out there, without doing CO2 poisoning, maybe a drug. I don't know, right? Do I wish that something would come to me and say, all right, like I guess I'm looking for my muse. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
it almost kind of sounds like an enlightenment moment. Like
yeah.
See, okay.
Like I'm looking for that thing that all of the other crazy people before us were like, muse, enlightenment, got it, right? And it stuck with them. And they went a little crazy to do it, right? Like a Kat Von D, right? Kat Von D is no longer tattooing. She found religion. A lot of people in this industry do. Because they
That's another thing I'll start yelling about.
go a little crazy and they're like, something's got to change. I'm going to find religion. And it's a complete different, like, you know, Kat Von D quits what she was the best at. She sings, and I'm not saying that she's a terrible singer. I'm not saying that by. But what Kat Von D was known for was her tattoo work. She went a little crazy, found religion, and now is blacking everything out on her body. She wants nothing to do with her last life. That's sad. It's sad because Kat Von D was really good. There's going to be people out there, oh, Kat Von D was shit. Everybody has an opinion. I think Kat Von D, I think she was a good tattooist, you know? The tattoo world, again, not everybody's going to agree, but the tattoo world really lost a talented tattooist because she found religion. You know, I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with finding religion. Believe in what somebody you have to believe in something. And if you believe that there's nothing, I mean, that's still a belief, right? Like you still like, you know, you have to believe in something to help get through, you know. I think finding your religious preference for anybody is super, super important. But at what point when does it become a problem in your career that you're like, no? I mean, didn't you say...
Religious psychosis?
Right? Like, didn't you say something earlier where it may not have been you, but somebody had said, yeah, they found religion and they shut the shop down. Like, they don't tattoo anymore. Who said that earlier? Who said that?
I don't know.
But a lot of tattooists will do that. Piercers, too. Mm-hmm. Like, they get into the industry, and to find enlightenment, they drug, sex, and rock and roll, you know, nearly end up killing themselves. They go a little fucking psycho, and then they find religion, and it's like, nope, I'm done, and they stop. You know, I am trying to find enlightenment. I've had shrooms. I've done a lot. Okay, admittedly, I've done a lot, and I haven't found that enlightenment. I wish I could find it. You know.
Okay, I think the true enlightenment doesn't come when you're looking for it.
Yeah, it kind of just falls in your lap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's something else I was going to make a comment about.
Yes, I'm rubbing off on everybody. Like, oh. God damn it, Steve. I caught the poly. It's an inside joke. It's an inside joke. You caught the poly. Oh my God. This is how it starts.
I think a lot of times whenever people go to religion and then feel like they can't do things anymore, they seek out something different, like something has to change, because they have they reach a burnout point.
Uh-huh.
Because they have pushed so hard, they have done everything at such a breakneck, impossible standard of work that they
slam face first into a wall.
yeah, they turn to like different coping mechanisms, and then they crash. And then what does everyone do when they crash? They find religion every time, which I don't know why that is.
It's because they consider this point where they feel like they've done everything, and the human desire to do more and more and push yourself, when they can't do that anymore, they feel like they've hit rock bottom. And what do you do when you hit rock bottom? You look for something to guide you back.
Religion! I have found religion.
If I ever find religion, just go ahead and shoot me, because I'm brain dead. I don't mean that anyone who has a religion is brain dead. I mean, it is just so antithetical to me as a person that if I do find religion, there is something I'm going through something and need to be checked into a psych ward.
You have gone crazy. And I bet. And I'm not saying that Ash doesn't do good work. dude, she comes up with some things.
Listen,
like I sit
if
there
you're
and
about
I
to tell
watch
me
her.
that I need to find a religion,
No, it's not
because
what I'm saying.
like,
That's not what I'm saying. That's not what I'm saying. But people who are passionate about their work at some point in being a pianist, being a musician, being a painter, being whatever your passion is doing, at some point in your passion, it drives you crazy.
I do not think so. I think that artists, whether it be musicians, dancers, tattoo artists, whatever, I think generally they do seem crazy to other people, and people try to explain the crazy away with other things like, oh, to be an artist you have to be crazy, which is not true. There are people who are just as crazy working like CEO jobs, like any other job. You can go anywhere and find someone who's batshit crazy. And that does not mean that they're any better at their job. It just means that people, no matter where you go, are batshit crazy.
The crazy is diverted into a different lane because with being an artist, you have to have passion for it, like to be able to
Yeah,
sit
to
down
keep
and
going.
create. So at some point, somewhere, somehow, there's something driving that passion. And so when you feel like you've lost it, you're gonna look to different avenues because you want that
It's in the
fire
water,
back.
isn't it?
Huh?
It's in the water, isn't it? It's in the water.
Yeah.
The crazy.
Yeah.
It is. It's in the water.
Yeah, I think you were right on the money when it comes to talking about like the passion and trying to get it back. And that's the reason why people turn to things like CO2 poisoning when they feel like they've lost. I'm not letting that go.
That's the desperate want to have
Yeah,
that
when-
fire back that makes them go down these fucked up avenues
Yeah.
and look for these things to like stimulate the brain because they're just like, I
They've-
can't do what I used
Yeah,
to. in
they've
their
lost the
own
passion and
opinion.
they don't know how to get it back other than trying.
I'm gonna go huff
Yeah.
CO2.
So the question is, how do you get the passion back without huffing CO2, Steve?
Or drugs.
Or drugs? I'm focusing on
The CO2
CO2
started it.
because that is like, there are some people do talk about certain drugs like actually do give you enlightenment, like what Will was talking about, or like
I want that.
you can see visions,
I want that.
but I don't think that's going to give you the passion back that you're wanting.
I don't know.
I don't think it will. It just gives you ideas. The people who have the ideas and kept going were already like.
I already had CO2 poisoning. That. They caught the pollen.
Listen,
That's what it is.
Steve, I'm just gonna start coming over whenever I know no one else is around and checking to make sure you're not giving yourself CO2 poisoning.
Fucking CO2 sensor.
Yeah, no, I will absolutely. Like, if I start getting weird cryptic texts from Steve, I'm coming over with a CO2 detector. No, I'm just gonna install one that will alert me on my phone. Hide it
Like
somewhere.
an Apple AirTag.
Yes. Is Steve dying?
I think we'll have a false alarm to go off, and then Steve will get a text message from Ash. Just Steve.
I do that.
Either that or a random
I
phone
wouldn't
call.
jeopardize my sweet baby church. I wouldn't do that. Or Remy. Or Zelda. Or Lilybit. I won't do that. I want that in life.
But what makes you passionate, Steve? Because we already know I start yelling about AI
Spite.
and religion. Spite?
Spite. That's the only thing that keeps me going. Spite.
What about a positive thing? Something that's like fun passion. I'm trying not to play with this too much because it makes weird noises.
There isn't.
Maybe that's what you're actually searching for.
Drugs.
Listen, I'm trying to
I knew the look. She's just like, really?
I'm trying to help you do some soul searching here,
Drugs.
and you're just like, drugs, CO2.
You know, like I feel, right? I feel that if I could have one good, trippy, enlightened moment, right? If I could have just one. Just
Okay.
one. Okay? Dude.
Part of me thinks this is fueled by the belief that, we can fix anything with a pill. We can fix anything with like just snap your fingers.
I'm not talking like heroin. I'm not
I
talking
know that.
meth.
I
I'm
know.
not.
I
I'm
know.
talking about the
Seeing green
sitting there watching Pink Floyd The Wall tripping on acid, or like William was talking about earlier, how they do all of these experiments on DMT drips or whatever, right?
Yeah.
I feel that if I could have just one good trip, not face first in a fucking garbage can, because William tried to poison me and allegedly and send me to the dark side of the fucking moon. Oh my